technology cool? Things that are developed, that are new and trendy, they're so neat. But new technology does present dangers, real life dangers. Augmented reality is one of them. You may be asking yourself, what in the world is augmented reality? Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. Augmented reality is imposing technology displays on top of the real world. I'd like to give you a little background on that, show you what some of the early applications of augmented reality are, illustrate some of the risks, real risks, some of the promise and potential, and then leave you with a couple lasting ideas. So augmented reality, by definition, is the live, direct, or indirect view of the physical world with a display on top of it. It can be done in two different ways. One way, with your smartphone, or some other piece of technology. Take it, you view your hand, and through the video of your hand, you have a teddy bear, or anything else. Like this example. You can barely see the man because it's at night, holding his cell phone to the sky. And through the camera of the cell phone, looking at the stars, the phone draws out the constellations. You don't even need to know where they are, because the phone does. That application is called Google Sky. One other application is the cockpit of the plane. This is the cockpit of 737. If you have a lot of money, millions of dollars, you can develop another version of augmented reality. Almost like a fighter plane. Indeed, this is inspired by a fighter plane. A heads-up display. Pane of glass, which not only lets you look out the window of the cockpit and fly the plane, but also tell you about your speed, the pitch, the yaw, the roll, your heading, your course, without ever looking down at the instrumentation panel in the plane. This is augmented reality in its most interesting form. But people like Google also want to let you be able to take a pair of glasses, put it on, and have your own heads-up display. To be able to look around the room and maybe see everyone's name, what they do for a profession. To be able to see where you are in the world and where points of interest are. And to be able to check Facebook without looking at your phone. You can also do this while skiing. There's a module called Recon Snow. And for your skiing nerd with lots of money, you can find out how fast you're going, where on the trail you are, where all your friends are, and the proximity to them. You'll never get lost again. Or you'll know approximately where you are lost. But all of this coolness comes at a cost. Google Glass, for example, has a little jewel to produce that heads-up display in peripheral vision. And it projects an image about 2.5 meters in front of you, a little less than 10 feet. But that ends up working like bifocals. Imagine running around in the real world. Things are hundreds of feet away, and you're forever looking back 10 feet in front of you. That's so frustrating for some people. 10% of the users of Google Glass just give up. 25%, a full quarter, have a terrible time getting used to this back and forth focus. Because human vision is not perfect. It has many components. The central part is all about detail. The peripheral, the outside, is all about finding your place in the world. So the central vision is all about seeing faces, reading, writing, things that require a lot of acuity. Peripheral vision is all about speed, objects around you, how are they moving? How close are you to those obstructions? They're both very important for different reasons. But what happens if you obstruct that natural vision? Luckily, there's a natural experiment you can run. Unfortunately, there are many causes of degradation in vision. There's diabetic retinopathy, with little scars in vision. The top row shows a plain picture, and the bottom row shows the unfortunate result of that ailment. On the far left, central vision loss, which, if you have know somebody with macular degeneration, is center vision out. starts to disappear. You can no longer see people's faces, or eventually not read writing. In 2004, there's a Salisbury eye evaluation that was done with almost 1,300 participants, elderly participants that had those types of ailments. And they found that a drop of visual acuity by about 10%, their obstruction, their ability to run into things, increased by 4%. Which is unfortunate. You have a little bit of loss of vision, and your ability to move around the world is diminished. You move slower or you run into things. And for augmented reality, putting something in your vision, blocking your peripheral vision, that's a problem. So for fighter pilots, heads-up display, very simple, it works. But having your emoticons, your Facebook updates in the corner of your peripheral, that might not be so great for you navigating the world. It becomes a little more problematic. Humans are amazing at identifying faces and shapes. It takes 200 milliseconds to identify a human shape made of 11 dots. You can see the running man, can't you? You can see the dog, you can see the bird. They're only made out of dots, and it only took you a fraction of a second to do that. It makes a problem in reverse. If you were to put a face or an emoticon in the corner of your vision, you would pay attention to it. Even if you were running down a trail, you would still look. And that's a hazard, a real hazard. So you have to be very careful how they design these interfaces to not distract. But it's not all bad. Done well, they can provide quite a lot of benefit, as they do to fighter pilots. Allowing you to see the horizon, pick up an enemy plane, tell you whether you have missile lock. They allow you to see the unseen. Imagine if you were blind. A device like that could see a don't walk sign, could read a sign for you, or if you didn't speak the language, could translate it for you and write the translation right below the sign. It can highlight the key parts in the world, and that's what separates the fighter pilot from this new augmented reality Google Glass. Simpleness, simplicity. It can help. Here's an amazing example. People with Parkinson's disease sometimes suffer from what's called failure of gait. You walk, you have a gait, you have a rhythm. But with a particular disease, that rhythm freezes when you have a tremor. But imagine if your glasses could detect that you did stop and prompt you with a few flashes. It's okay. And give you that little prod to the shoulder and say, you're having a tremor. Focus on it and you can walk. And this does help them. After giving 3 flashes when they have a tremor, they continue to walk as per normal. So this is the key to augmented reality. Cool technologies like Google Glass, Google Sky, or my fictitious sunglasses that tell me about everybody in the room. It needs to be simple. It needs to be contextual. It needs to be useful. Anything that doesn't meet those standards will be distracting and cause hazards for its users. So while it is cool, it needs to take those risks into mind. You can't just have your peripheral vision filled with Facebook. That won't work out well for us. It needs to be well thought out and simple. The bare minimum you need to navigate the world. But it can have an extremely strong effect. Imagine walking through the world on an adventure. You can't find the coffee shop you so dearly want to find, but you've got your Neo augmented reality glasses on. And where is the nearest Starbucks? It's right there. A little arrow comes down from the sky and tells you it's right there. That is the golden promise, and it will come. The potential is very interesting. I'd like to ask if you have any questions. Teresa.
Augmented reality. I think people in my mom's generation, this would blow their mind. So will we have to wait until like I'm 90?
You can do it with smartphones today. There are applications out there where if you download it and you say curious about coffee shops, like my example, and type it in and hold it up, it will actually show you through the camera, lens, and the GPS in your phone actually where they are. You'll see the cityscape moving, and it'll say there's Starbucks, there's Tim Hortons.
Yeah, but you and I are fairly technical people.
Yes.
And we're computer nerds. Someone who's not a computer nerd, I think this would just blow their mind. So
It probably would.
at this point, I don't think this is feasible a lot, like a lot of uses.
No.
Or do you think it is?
As I showed with Google Glass, the small little prism in the peripheral, like that is the real risk, is your peripheral vision is used for so much navigating the world. And it needs to move into that central vision like the fighter pilots. So it's not interfering with your perception of speed and space. It's just showing you that detail. And that will come, but it's a little bit out, but it's on the fringe, and that's why this article exists. Any questions?
I'm going to ask your opinion. I just was test driving some new cars recently.
Yes.
And I'm not necessarily a Luddite, but when I thought about the backup cameras, which make me think people will be watching the backup cameras and they'll proceed to run into the person in front of them because they're watching the screen instead of, or all this messages are going to be delivered as text messages or something on a panel. Do you think that this augmented reality is a good thing in cars at this time?
It's interesting you bring up the backup cameras, because they're actually a really great example of it. If you just had a camera, that would not be anything revolutionary, but they've started to add all the proximity data. So it actually says how far away the car is behind you, and whether it's in the green zone or the yellow zone or the red zone. It's good, but like I'm saying, you can't just take it for what it is. It needs to be done well and safe, and make sure that you are looking in front and not just behind. Yeah.
I was just thinking of Wayne Gretzky. They said he was so good at the hockey there because he had more than normal peripheral vision. So he could see what was going on a lot more. So like in sports, they could wear something like that and be as good as Wayne Gretzky.
That is the end of the question period.